On a cold February morning in 2021, retired neurologist Dr. Stephen Sullivan set off on a solo winter hike on Washington's Mount Rainier, a trek he'd done before and cherished deeply. But this time, he never returned. For 4 long years, his family clung to hope while rangers scoured miles of snowy terrain. Then one spring morning, something unexpected surfaced in the most unlikely of places, a beaver dam. What they found would revive the case and stir new questions about what really happened on that mountain. Dr. Stephen Sullivan was 67 years old when he disappeared. A respected neurologist from Seattle, he had recently retired after a long career dedicated to helping others. Known for his gentle demeanor and deep curiosity, Stephen was also an avid lover of nature and hiking. Friends described him as meticulous. He never took risks he couldn't manage. Hiking in the snow wasn't new to him. He enjoyed the quiet solitude of the Pacific Northwest in winter. It was his way of reconnecting with the world, especially after years of high-stakes hospital work. On February 21, 2021, Stephen informed his family of a day hike he planned to take in the Mount Rainier National Park area, specifically around Paradise, intending to loop past Reflection Lakes. He wasn't concerned. It was a trail he knew well. Equipped with winter gear, trekking poles, and a GPS beacon, he headed out early in the morning. Stephen checked in with a close friend around 10 a.m. using his Garmin InReach device, sending a brief but clear message, "All good. Just past the ridge. Clear skies." That was the last anyone heard from him. When he didn't return home that evening, his wife initially assumed he'd lost track of time. But as hours turned into a full day, worry turned to fear. By the next morning, the National Park Service had launched a search and rescue operation. Helicopters, canine units, and nearly 60 volunteers joined the effort. But conditions on Mount Rainier were brutal. Snowfall from a recent storm had buried trails, and visibility was poor. Searchers combed the area for over a week, finding no clues, no footprints, no gear, not even signs of a snow shelter. As weeks passed without answers, grief began to settle into the Sullivan household. His wife, Elaine, appeared in local interviews, urging the public not to forget her husband's case. Online forums speculated wildly. Some suggested foul play, others believed he may have faked his own disappearance. But those who knew Stephen dismissed such ideas. He was grounded, reliable, and had everything to live for, Elaine said. The trail grew colder with each passing month. Eventually, the official search was suspended. Yet Stephen's family never stopped searching. Then in late spring of 2025, an unexpected call came in. A local wildlife tracker, Dave Martinez, was checking beaver activity along a slow-moving creek about 3 miles east of the original search zone when he noticed something strange protruding from a dam. At first, he thought it was plastic waste, but as he tugged at it, a flash of yellow revealed itself. It was a winter glove. Park rangers responded quickly. Carefully deconstructing part of the beaver dam, they recovered several small items: a yellow winter hiking glove, the shattered remains of a water bottle, and a fabric scrap consistent with down-filled outerwear. The glove had a tiny tear along the inside seam, where rescuers found a sewn-in tag. One Elaine had hand-stitched with Stephen's initials. The discovery raised more questions than it answered. How did his belongings end up in a beaver dam miles from his expected trail? Did he become disoriented and wander downhill toward the creek? Was he injured and seeking water or shelter? Or had he fallen and washed downstream in meltwater runoff, with the dam collecting the debris over time? Forensic analysis found no blood on the glove, and no human remains were discovered. The dam had likely been reinforced over several seasons, suggesting the items had been submerged for a while. But one detail haunted investigators: the GPS beacon was never recovered. Was it lost or deliberately discarded? Dr. Lisa Carr, a wilderness survival expert, offered perspective. When people are hypothermic, their behavior can become irrational. It's possible Dr. Sullivan experienced disorientation, even paradoxical undressing. If he veered off trail toward the creek and fell, it may have been impossible to self-recover in the snow. The creek where the glove was found had steep embankments and rocky outcrops, difficult terrain, especially in icy conditions. Rangers now believe Sullivan may have slipped and become trapped or injured. For Elaine and their 2 daughters, the discovery was bittersweet. It was proof, she said through tears. Proof that he had made it farther than we thought. Proof that he didn't just vanish. The items were returned to the family in a quiet ceremony held in the park. They planned to build a small memorial bench along the trail, something hikers can rest on, reflect, and perhaps think of Stephen and others lost to the mountains. Stephen's story is one of dedication, love, and mystery. He wasn't reckless, just a man who loved nature and found peace in the wild. Yet even the most prepared hikers are vulnerable to nature's unpredictability. And while the mountain never gave back his body, it did return a piece of the truth. Sometimes, that's all a family needs to begin healing. If you found this story moving, please like, share, and subscribe. This is Don's Real Stories.